I'm so happy to see you, Sarah. With
Hi,
that beautiful
Michelle.
background, I know it's not in real time, but it's almost. How are you today?
Yeah, but it's still where I am at the moment. I'm in Australia again, so it's still
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm happy to be back. Actually, this is the second time we go live together, and it feels like home.
Oh, good. That is.
Yeah, it
It's
feels
really
like I'm going to visit a friend,
yeah,
for a tea.
exactly, exactly. And today we kind of in the Wisdom Seekers this month. It's all about being heard, and it's always so lovely for me how the universe kind of, or that life conspires
Mm.
to teach me every month a little bit more and deeper around these themes. And I love to always follow you and see what you're up to. And I think there's kind of a lot of wisdom coming from you. So we're going to touch on redefining worth, prosperity, and purpose in the new earth paradigm, but also all the amazing things you're up to because you just did a trip to Bali and I need to know more.
Yeah. Actually, I just got back since I think a week or something from Bali, not
Mhm.
even a week, and it was my first time there.
Yeah.
So I've heard everybody talking about this place on Earth, and there was a very practical reason why I needed to go there. Like I just needed to renew my visa,
Yeah.
but my higher self was actually planning on something else for me.
Ooh, now there we go. That's bringing us back to being heard. So you were kind of nicely pushed. I mean, I can't be bad
Yeah.
going to Bali.
Yeah, I was like kind of carelessly saying, yeah, sure, I would just go to Bali. Like that famous book, Eat, Pray,
Yes.
Love.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, sure, I would just casually, go to Italy and go to India. I mean, what can happen? And and then, well, I've been working. Actually, I mean, I have a news I can share here, I guess, since we're friends already, and we're all friends here in the Wisdom Seeker Society. I've
Yes.
been, I mean, I'm a coach myself, like helping others, through transformative processes, and of course, I go through my own, which
Yeah.
I think is pretty normal.
Hmm.
And so I've been through a transformative process that have lasted for the last 21 months, which is almost
Yeah.
like 2 years.
Yeah.
And what happened in Bali is that I got the last piece. It's like I got the last piece of the puzzle, and it
Yeah.
was all at an energetic level.
Mm.
And there is also something I want to say about Bali. A year ago, when I was very much in the depth of my suffering,
Mm.
I woke up with a song, and that song was talking about Bali. Like the lyrics, there was Balinese dancing, like and and I was and so it happens to me very often to receive just messages through music and songs. Maybe songs I haven't listened to in like 20 years, or maybe and just like pop up like that, and I know that's a message then.
Nice.
Um, and so at the moment, I thought like, why? I mean, I'm not planning on traveling anywhere. Like, what is this? Like, but I felt there was something there, so it started calling me
Mm.
from there. And of course, my ego thought, oh yeah, sure. So I need to go and make retreats in Bali and become this blah blah blah. It's like, no,
Yeah.
that's not. And so then what happened is that father, like this was 1 year ago, then 6 months afterwards, I finally understand that I need to travel, I need to change my life and get out of the situation I was in before.
Mm.
But I think about Australia, right? So this is where I am right now.
Yeah.
Um,
From
and
Italy. So
yeah,
just
from
kind of give
Italy.
perspective. So from
Yeah,
Italy, yeah.
yeah, exactly. And then I also saw an amazing retreat in Bali,
Yeah.
not in Australia, and then I wanted to join, but it was expensive for me at the time. And the most crucial part of this retreat was like the connection to water, because in Bali there is this big thing about water ceremony.
Mm.
And actually looking a bit more deeper into it, it's not only the water element working in Bali, it's supposedly a very high energetic point on earth, because there are all these dream lines coming together there, and 6 elements from different part of the world, they come together. So there is earth coming in, fire coming in, water coming in, and each of the 6 elements has a specific point on the main island, where like it's a special sacred space. So this is, not everybody knows about it. It's not just blah blah. It's
Yeah.
something that if you live at a certain level, you can feel.
Yeah.
And the good thing is that it happened to me because I didn't have any expectations about it. I was just like surrendered to the process, and it it hooked me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was talking about this retreat. So I see this retreat. I want to join and really like the water part, but it was like totally too expensive.
Mm.
So forget about it. Go to Australia, go on with my
Yeah.
own thing. And then, yeah, suddenly I need to renew my visa. And so I need to go out of the country. And so where should I go? Well, Bali's pretty close. Let's go there. And so this is how, this very practical reason. And then what happens is that I like get to talk to some people, and they recommend a special high priestess on the island, which is actually the only one, like most authentic one on the island.
Yeah.
And she's a high priestess and she works with water. So I end up, basically, I booked this trip to Bali. I stayed there for 1 week, just booking my own, rooms, hotel. Like, I call it a solo treat, like going
Yeah.
on a solo retreat. And I was deeply in my processes of my spirit, like my meditations, my own things.
Mm.
And I just needed to heal my heart. I needed to get my heart back together, because I talk a lot about the heart. I talk about living in the heart, and I talk about it because I know when your heart feels alive and when it doesn't. And for
Mm.
me, I mean, during the past 2 years, it felt alive in certain areas of my life. Like, for example, feeling alive when I serve my clients, feeling my purpose, being happy about this and this and that,
Mm.
being joyful for continuously, developing what's wants to come out from me, and blah blah blah. But there was this other like shadow, in me, that was just so present, and I could feel it. And so what happened there is that it was the final moment where my heart was healed, and now it's healed at a total new level. And everybody who talks to me can see this new light that got back in me. And I finally feel that I found myself again, because I knew, how I felt before, but also I found myself again at a totally different level.
Mm.
And because today we're going to talk about, worthiness and like prosperity as well, I also want to mention this about the economic bit of it, like the financial bit of it, because it's part of this topic.
Yeah.
So basically, during this trip to Bali, I got the best result I could ever ask for myself, which is actual healing for myself, like finalizing the process of healing, that has been going through different
Yeah.
months, as I said. And I got the water ceremony. I got connection to the island. I really got I got a rebirth, right? I got a retreat for myself, and it cost me actually 1/10 on what I could have spent, on the other retreat that I saw. And this
Yeah.
is just to say that, of course, we're talking to people who are already on their path, people who can lead themselves pretty well, right? And so, but we all fall into, oh yeah, we really love to do this way. But actually, if you don't have, at the moment the money to do it that way, life always brings you another way. Because I like talking about numbers, I was about to spend 3,000 euros on that retreat, and I
Mm.
got my ceremony with $35.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's one hundred of what and
Yeah.
then of course it's spent on accommodation and everything, but it did not come close to what I would have spent otherwise. And also that was the best way for me, because I actually had the freedom to be in my own process. And so talking about prosperity, what I think is very key for New Earth, and
Mm.
earth leaders, which I always talk to,
Mm.
a key, a key aspect I see about money is that, first of all, money and abundance are not like related. I
Mm.
mean, they are related, but they're not the same thing.
No, money is an aspect of abundance.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
things.
We
Yeah.
can say that, but uh, also like ideally, you can experience the feeling of abundance without having any money at
Yeah.
all. Like it's not what I mean is like you don't need money to experience abundance
Yeah.
as a feeling. Then as a practical reality, then yes, money can buy you things and money can, give
But those
you food on your plate. But as
yeah.
a feeling
Yeah.
is you don't need the actual thing, right? So that's just one thing. But then one aspect which is very dear to me is because I have a whole, particular way to look at prosperity and wealth building and everything as for a neural perspective, because I think it's really an area where we're moving on eggshells,
Mm.
because we know that it's there's so much charge related to money, and there's so much charge we want to move away from, because there's so much injustice in the
Mm.
power that money has created. And so, we don't want to like completely, I talk about myself, I don't want to like completely say money is bad, is devil, because this is not my perspective. But I know it's like I feel like I'm moving on eggshells, like
Mm.
taking the path of building wealth in my life. It's much more about experiences and abundance and connection to nature rather than the actual zeros on the bank account, right? And because I have this perspective, I always have lived in an abundance consciousness. I've always had manifested like this, whatever I needed, really. And as this case, right? So as this case, like life brings me the best options that I cannot even think about. And it brings it to me completely within the means I can afford. I can afford like with ease. Okay, so I didn't feel strained in Bali any like I had my own perfect room. I even booked myself some with kitchens because I prefer like to cook my own food.
Yeah.
Um, and so I mean I could do that easily, and and it just felt like amazing. And then I would buy myself this special raw cakes, treats, and I'm like, whoa, that's all I need. I mean, I'm not really leaking on anything else, and I will pay for myself, like, even the car taxi. Everybody wants to go cheap. Everybody wants to like take the cheapest option, like with motorbike, and even with this very, I mean, I can't generalize, but
Yeah.
um, it doesn't feel safe. Like
Mm.
some people don't really know how to drive. So and the traffic is horrible, and so I even paid for myself like the best taxi, like car taxi, and like
Yeah.
really like, it was like a splurging, how do you say, like
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Splurging on yourself. Yeah.
yeah, and
Within
still,
in your needs, like you
yeah,
had.
exactly. So this is actually the second key, talking about worth and creating like prosperity, actually from an earth perspective. Yeah, the second key, because I still didn't mention the first one, the second key is this one. Yeah, so abundance is really creating, uh, responding to your own needs. Be clear of what your own needs are, and there's a lot of stuff we really can let go of. We can really let go of, and it's not our own needs. And
Yeah.
we always have that. Like if you're aligned, we always have that. Life always provides for that.
Mm.
I've been living like that since forever, since like I went outside of home, like 20 years, and it has always been working. So without a fail. And
Mm.
the first one that I was mentioning before, it's a very particular mindset I have about money. And this is related to like money and personal growth, or like money and desire. So like money and things I want to do, right?
Yeah.
So we often think, oh, I really want to do this blank, like this trip, this retreat, this course with this amazing teacher, because we wanna, we are interested in it, right?
Mm.
And so I really want to do this, but it feels like a constraint right now on my finances, right? As I was saying before, the example of the retreat I saw, right?
Yeah.
So actually, I have a way of looking at it, which is from abundance, from a place of abundance, not from a place of lack. Because if we say that we're not having the money to realize one of our desires,
Mm.
we instantly go into lack and feel constrained and feel we're not enough and blah blah blah, right? And so we
Yeah.
create more lack around us.
Yeah.
But actually, as how I see it is that the money we have, often they are our boundaries, and they are our guardians,
Mm.
and they guide us towards what is best for us. Because in the end, after the experience I had in Bali, I realized I didn't need the retreat at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't like, if I think about that retreat, if I think about that offer, like what guidance was trying to tell me is like, you go to Bali, you go to connect to the water. That's it. I don't need any overhead. I don't need any of that specific teacher, which is amazing teacher. I mean, she's working for 30 years. I can still, as be a fan of her job,
Mm.
of her work, sorry,
Yeah.
but I don't need that. And so the amount of money I have in any specific moment is my guardian
Mm.
to what is actually good for me. And I have another example where this can understand, can be better understood. For example, in the beginning of my coaching career, I had a client and she couldn't really have the money to pay for my coaching. All
Yeah.
right. And so because I was at the beginning, I really wanted to get experience. I said, all right, let's do it like for free, like for small money, just, because I really love this client, like we had a very good connection. And so I just wanted to get in experience.
Mm.
And so I did this, right? And so what happens is that she, I mean, for as much as she would have loved to do this, the program, the coaching program, it was like 6 sessions or something, 5 sessions, 6 sessions. It was a small program.
Yeah.
Uh, like her life engagements would not allow her to actually show up to the meetings,
Oh wow.
and she didn't even have like time to work in between, which she should have done. And so we couldn't actually get the end of it.
Mm.
And so that is an example where, again, in her life, her money situation was saying, girl, this is not for you right now. You
Yeah.
don't need to do this coaching. Like, this is too much. You're creating overwhelm for yourself. You don't have the money to pay for it. Well, you don't need it. It's that easy.
Yeah.
And it's only our mind thinking that we need that, we need that. And that's how we create scarcity. So this is a very big teaching I have around money, because I
Yeah.
believe like this changes everything, really.
Yeah. Well, it changes the whole view on it, and brings us back to being heard. Like, are you listening to yourself? Like, what is it that you actually want? What is the desire? The desire was to go to Bali and do a water ceremony. The desire wasn't necessarily the retreat, or
Yeah.
whatever it
And
is.
actually, I mean, beyond that, the desire was my need. I would define it as a need, not even just as desire. It was both a desire and the need was to heal my heart. And
Yeah.
so Bali and the water ceremony was a way, like a catalyzer for me. And I mean, probably, they knew better than I that
Mm.
that was like the best way for me in this moment. All
Mm.
right. And so like they kind of drove me to that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, and actually, I mean, that the experience on the island um was so profound for me that I'm actually considering moving there. So
Yeah. Yeah. And it also teaches me, or shows me, that there isn't just one way. There are
mm,
all these other ways, and it once again comes back to you being your own guide, or listening and tuning into your guide, or your higher self, or however you want to see it. But there is no external needed necessarily. um only the fact
And
that you open
yeah,
and
and as
want.
you were saying, often, talking about the hearing yourself
Mm,
and hearing your needs, often, like, there's always another way we can meet them. There's always another way. If you
yeah,
think that the only way you can meet men is by paying for this and that, well, there's always another way. That's not true.
yeah. And I think this is the dissonance that we feel with selling or marketing often, because in the marketing paradigm or in the selling paradigm, it's always, this is your problem, I have the solution, if you pay me I give you the solution. And this is not how we work as, however we want to call ourselves, heartpreneurs, or heart-centered entrepreneurs. We don't want to fill that lack. We want to
Yeah,
create spaces where you can connect to your own wisdom, because it
yeah,
is innate. Yeah.
yeah. This particular, topic that you're talking about is very
Mm.
loaded
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's very loaded because it really, like, you can go to 100 marketing experts, and 99 of them, they would tell you, yeah, sure, you need to create a problem and offer a solution to your client and sell them the final result and tell them how amazing it is. And one day I listened to one teacher, which I don't want to, like, mention here because
Mm.
I'm not really supportive of her teachings. It's just this one thing that I can mention here.
Yeah.
Um, and she was saying people don't really buy, people don't really buy to solve their problems. People buy uh, to because they like something, like because they want to feel good.
Mm.
And she was bringing an example and saying, so this goes like counter what everybody's saying about problems. She was
Yeah.
taking an example, like, for example, why do you think they go to hairdresser? They go to hairdresser because they want to feel good. They don't really have any problem to solve. Or, they buy this brand because they want to they want to have this feeling. And so she was relating it to those feelings. And then something I noticed in her own marketing was that actually she was a bit incoherent about that because then she was, doing marketing around problems. But this is a perspective uh, that I believe it's also true. And
Mm.
I truly believe it depends on what kind of people you're talking to, because it depends on kind of how independently and how sovereign the people you're talking to are.
Yeah.
Because the one that are still very, like, not awakened that much, they just want to fix problem fast. They don't look for
Yeah. But they
something
also
else,
buy
right?
into the problem, and that's not always the audience, or the I hate the word, but ideal client that we want to work with, or that is grounded in themselves. And I think
Mm,
that's where we are maybe finding a separation in our environment or people around us, in that some people want to move into a world where we see each other as sovereign, creative, collaborative beings that are competent and able to lead themselves and show up as themselves authentically and do all that stuff, and that we don't need to create a world where that people are looking to feel better. If I tell you that what is wrong with your life, you're going to feel so bad, and then I'm going to tell you how I'm going to make you feel better, and then you're going to pay me a lot of money. And we don't want to do that, because it's counterintuitive and counterproductive to creating a world where we are grounded in our own sovereign kind of um, connections to each other.
yeah. Yeah. So that also tells a lot about the kind of worth you are bringing, right, to the work.
Yeah, yeah. Which I think we connect so much more in those ways. Like it's such a more of a real connection. We can see that there isn't strength in, lack isn't the way for us to move forward. Like your whole experience now it feels rich and abundant, and it's really, I mean, I've been watching it on Instagram, so obviously it looks amazing.
Yeah.
uh,
But it is
so much,
amazing.
and it's real, because I know you, and I know that how you would throw yourself into this beautiful experience and absorb it. It's
Into
not
the
just,
fire. You can say I threw myself into the fire, because of course I just, talk about
yeah,
the shiny and fairy stuff, but as any internal process, there was a lot of
yeah, yeah.
other stuff going on. But that's how we transmute, right? Yeah.
Well, exactly. And you know, I know I can see you in that process. It's not just, oh, look at me, everything's amazing, and you know, yeah, marketing or
Yeah.
selling or any of that. Um, and it kind of brings me back to this redefining our worth, that it isn't necessarily in, I've been able to pay this other person thousands of euros, and therefore I am doing the right thing. But it's empty. It's not, it's removed from your own stepping into it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot more ownership, when
Yeah.
you basically what I did for myself, talking about this whole experience we shared on this call.
Mm,
I really co-created with life.
yeah.
We talk about a lot about co-creation on New
Mm,
Earth. We talk a lot about, when I talk about heart-centered manifesting, this is it. Like, my
yeah.
heart manifested this. It's the best thing that could ever happen to me. And so it's there's a lot more of you in the process, as you were saying, of ownership of you,
Mm,
and calling in, the right assets
yeah.
that you need to, and resources that you need to actually yeah, to be you, to be more you, to become a fuller expression of you. So when we
Mm,
talk about healing, it's always about that.
mm. And in that, there's a letting go. There's a letting
And
go
again,
of,
and sorry, and again, like, there was from my side a truly, because that's about my mindset. Like, I've never been in debt. I would never be in debt.
mm,
So I don't go, past my limits. You
yeah.
know what I mean? So that's, again, like, respecting the resources that are given to me in any specific moment, and
Mm,
trusting that that's the best thing for me. And
yeah.
in the hindsight of afterwards, not
Mm,
only this experience, but I have, so many I can talk about. It's always true. I couldn't have asked for any better.
yeah. Well, that's it. Um, couldn't ask for anything better. That's
Yeah,
pure.
and
Yeah.
if all of a sudden, like, we had a third person on this call, and this person is a financial advisor, and
Mm,
they would have, to check on me and check on my bank account and check on my reservoir for, like, my pension or whatever, all of these things that they check on you.
yeah.
I would be the worst on the planet. But I am still very responsible, and that's about building wealth, which is aligned with your values. I'm still a very responsible person.
Mm,
I don't waste money. I have a perfect, amazing relationship with money. I always have more than enough to fulfill all my needs. I
yeah.
mean, what else?
Yeah. Exactly. What else?
Yeah. So it's really about, uh, learning as you go to create a different system. And of course, you need to, have different mindsets around certain things.
Mm,
As we a little bit explore here, there's more, I could
yeah.
share about it. That's also a topic that really, I'm really passionate about, because
Mm,
I can see that one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about this topic is because I can see how much people stress out about money, and they shouldn't. They
people also
shouldn't.
attach their own value. We do. I mean, I'm not pointing fingers. We've been conditioned to attach our worth and our value to our bank accounts or to the money that's coming in, and it's time to break free from it and to allow us to see the bigger picture. I think is what it comes down to. That
Yeah,
abundance is bigger, and I do love. I'm going to play with this a little bit, like, you know, that it is a guardian. Like the sometimes there
I
isn't.
think it is. I
Yeah,
think it is. And if you really try to look at your money that way, you will instantly find yourself more abundant and you will instantly make different decisions for yourself.
yeah,
And another big one that happened to me also last month, I was I signed up myself to a business mentorship program for myself. Like I carefully selected my business mentor. She was heart-centered, blah, blah, blah. And, she was my same type in human design. So I was expecting blah, blah, blah.
yeah,
And 2 months in the program, it was a 6 months program. It was bullshit. And so I'm
yeah,
like, baby, I'm not gonna invest my money in it.
yeah,
You are giving me, and I'm gonna speak up for it. And what I did actually turns out that a lot of other people in the program felt like the way I felt. And
yeah,
again, uh, like I stood up for myself and I stood up for the value of myself and of the service I should be provided for. That was a very expensive program. And I just got my money back. I mean, you need to stand up and understand and
yeah,
like realize and really uh yeah, like being honest and being present with all that happens. And as I said, I'm not, if I were a person that who cares about the money and they will come in or blah blah blah, but I'm not like that. Like I really care about it and
yeah,
generally care about it. I can generally invest it for my good, and I know that they guide me to the best decisions.
yeah. But it's also about being heard and, standing up and being courageous and saying the things, not just to others, not just to the
Yeah, I
other
had a
person.
one-on-one
Yeah,
confrontational talk to her. I
yeah,
mean, she's obviously doing much better than me in her business, but she
yeah,
was giving no presence in her program after
yeah,
selling it like that. And I can see that, I can feel that, and I'm not gonna buy
yeah.
it. I'm not gonna buy
Which is
into
your
it.
prerogative. I mean, we need to be able to, stand up for ourselves often as well, because
Yeah,
there is a lot of that happening, and that's a part of being worth, seeing my worth. If
yeah.
I
And
am
it
not
takes it
happy,
it requires some boldness. It was not easy, not for me, not for her, to have this conversation. We were trying both to be, so respectful. Of course, both of us were pissed off because it was not a
yeah, it
like
wasn't
it was
working.
not an ideal conversation for any of the parts, but we were both adults and we were all both willing to show up and to talk about what was going on. And that was a really um, great experience for being heard and really being heard in your worth. Because I was talking to another person, like a very very highly financially successful business mentor, and blah blah blah.
Right.
And so you get, sometimes you get this money. What money can do can make you feel that you are in a different place, right? It can make you feel that, oh, she has more than I. Like she must be kind of a better person. I mean, we don't really want to say that, but you know what I mean. It's like it really makes you feel the disparity with other people, this equality, how different you are in life.
Yeah,
And yeah, and so it makes that, right, because it's touched to, like, again, as you were saying, like the value perception we have of people and stuff, right? So the more one thing costs, or one person programs cost, the better it is, right? It's
yeah,
this fake thing about value and touching
yeah,
money and value, right, that we need to really rewrite. And
exactly.
so yeah, and so showing after this conversation, like being part that I'm also part of this collective understanding. Of course there was uh it didn't feel like we were at the same level, but But that's where you have to stand up for yourself. That's where actually you have to believe that you are the same level as humans, and no matter, how much your programs are worth, or how much you're charging, or how much you're paying, or how much she's doing and you're doing.
Yeah.
Because then in that conversation was really funny, was that she was telling me, she just she's a well-meaning person, but probably she's just going through her own stuff, and she didn't deliver. I mean, it can happen, I can be a good chef and I can cook it like shit one day. I mean, it can happen, right? And then maybe that day the critic come in and they get the worst review ever. Can happen,
Exactly.
I mean, she didn't deliver, and everybody in the group could see that. I was not the only one, and I talked to other girls, so it was not just. I'm just saying this because I don't want to be seen as the picky one, because it was not about me being picky. Like I just really saw that, and I had the courage to speak up for it.
Yeah.
At the first one, to speak up with it. And so in this conversation that we had, difficult conversation, she was telling me, "Oh, obviously we don't align with our values, because you." If you have some needs and if you want to be heard, you really have to speak up for it. You didn't tell me about this and that.
Yeah.
And this obviously was not true, because I was the one having the conversation. I was the one asking for the conversation. I was the one expressing my needs, at like totally in a very bold way. And so this is just to say that this whole thing about being heard, people just can sometimes they just talk without being really connected with
Yeah.
seeing what's happening, like in this case.
And
And
there's a lot
so
of suspension that I think is missing in the world, kind of going back and just checking in with yourself and going, is this what I am really experiencing, or am I bringing it in? Is it coming from the other person or is it coming from me?
yeah, there's a lot of projection going on it, of course. And well, sometimes, when we find ourselves in a difficult situation, we just
Protect ourselves.
yeah, we get more defensive, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, exactly.
anyway, yeah.
Sarah, it is always so lovely. I can't believe we have gone over time, and time is an illusion, and still it is lovely chatting to you. Your Substack is where people can find you best, I think.
Yeah, so I invite everybody to join my weekly publication, Weeklish, which is about neuroleadership.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I write articles and I talk about many different stuff that,
And then
yeah, you
obviously
might be enjoy.
see some Bali pictures, and see how beautiful the experience was. And we'll be chatting again next month. I think it is on the 10th of October. We're going to touch a little bit on holistic health. And I know you've had quite an interesting health journey, which I can almost say was a spiritual journey as well. So
Mm.
I really look forward to our
It
next
it
meeting.
always is, isn't it?
It is. Everything kind of goes back to that usually. Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Let's try to keep it shorter next time, because I want to be mindful of your, timing and
Yeah.
formats. I don't want to be the one that stretches it out. But
No, it's always lovely. Lovely to chat.
I
And
think this, the fact that we just stretch out the time is just a testimony of how abundant this conversation about abundance could be. Because actually, there's so much more we could say about it, like worth and abundance. So just an
yeah.
invitation to everybody to just go over and past your limits and what you perceive as a limitation, what you perceive as a lack, and really mind flip, like flip your mind around that.
Yes, exactly. There is no lack really. It's limitations we put on ourselves. And I think we can stretch those usually quite
Yeah.
well. Thank you.
Thank you.